Welcome to the post-match reaction to Manchester City versus the team that's in white, Tottenham Hotspur. Well, a lot went into this week. A lot of emotion was in this week. And the dust is cleared. And one thing is for certain. Pretty much, Manchester City has another title unless they decide to botch it themselves. And once again, another year. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 years of absolutely doing nothing in the Premier League. Absolutely nothing. There's a lot of talk in the YouTube streets. Excuse me. There's a lot of talk in the YouTube streets about Spurs. A lot of talk tonight. A lot of people are saying Spurs are sorry, they're lazy, they'll never do anything, they'll never win anything. And as an Arsenal fan, I want to pose a question to everyone. What's the one thing that we've got in common with them this year? Give you a few seconds to think about it. What is the one thing that we've got in common with them this year? Neither one of us is winning anything this season. Nothing. No cups. No trophies, no nothing. And guess what? I got a news flash for you. It's been that way for quite a while. It's been that way for quite a while. This week, we had a section of the fan base that decided they wanted to support Spurs. They said, well, you guys are not going to support Spurs. You're not Arsenal fans. I'm from the old school. It's just some stuff you just don't do. Just doesn't happen that way. Just not going to do it. You can go ask, and it's amazing because you go ask any other fan. My best friend is a Barcelona fan. Hey, man, you going to support Real Madrid if you need them to win you the title? Absolutely not. We'll shut it down and we'll just go again next year. You go ask a Celtic fan, will they support Rangers? I guarantee they say absolutely not. You can go ask any other rival. They ain't doing it. They're not going to do it. What the underlying thing here is, we've been so devoid of success that we'll just take anything. This is what Arsenal fans are doing. They'll take anything just to see some form of success. But you know the one thing that Arsenal fans won't do? They won't question this manager. They won't question the hierarchy. They won't ask what the hell are the Cronkies doing. Instead, they go along to get along. And when it goes south, it's everybody else's fault but our own. We had chance after chance after chance to win this title this year. We had chance after chance. Chelsea, Tottenham, Aston Villa 2 games, Fulham, Liverpool. All kinds of madness this year. And we go all the way to the end, and then we think we're going to rely on a serial bottle job team, and I'm talking about Spurs right now, to do anything against a juggernaut who was playing at half staff today. At half staff. Arsenal fans, we got to start asking questions around here. We've got to start asking questions around here. We have to start asking questions because we're going into year 5 now, y'all. this is year 5. We've got to rebuild this team. We've got to rebuild this bench big time. Money has to be spent in order to start bringing in players we need. We need world-class players. We need world-class players big time. I don't want to hear anything about the up-and-coming prodigy that's 15 from Uganda. No. We need world-class, ready-to-go players. I said it on my last podcast. We have to change the mentality at this football club. We're going to have to stop respecting Manchester City. We're going to have to stop walking on eggshells with these teams. And until we develop the mentality of a siege mentality, we take it to these teams no matter what. We don't need the calls from the referee. We don't need to be looking for stuff. We don't need to worry about rain. All kinds of excuses that I've seen this year. It needs to be, we have to have success at all costs. That needs to be the mentality going forward at this football club. Because what we saw tonight was a team that, regardless of how bad they played, because let's have it right, that was not a world-class game by City. But when it comes for moments, world-class players step up. When it comes for moments for them, world-class players step up. In all adversity, they find a way. That's a mental thing. They're mentally strong. The manager tonight was zeroed in. Made the adjustments at halftime. Ball came out. I texted the guys. I texted them. I said, the ball's going to move much faster after halftime, and they'll probably put the goal in and shut it down. And what happened? They came right back out. Ball moved faster. Bang, bang, goal. After the first goal went in, I knew it was done. There was nothing else to watch. It was just a matter of when. And it's going to be the same way on Sunday. Whenever the first ball hits the back of the net, it's over. It's over. So don't get your hopes up. Don't get your hopes up for Sunday. I know some of y'all out there thinking, we're dreaming. Believe. Just go ahead and start preparing yourself. Again, last year, I did a fan count with Lee, and I said, prepare yourself for the Heartbreak Hotel. Make sure you got your reservations in order. Make sure you got your bags packed. Got enough gas in the car. Because you're headed to the Heartbreak Hotel another season. Another season, ladies and gentlemen. When is enough enough? When is enough enough? This is 4.5, y'all. This is 4.5. We have thrown away cup after 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 cup. Five seasons before Arteta arrived, we had 3 trophies, 5 cup finals, 3 top 4 finishes. 5 seasons after Arteta, we have 1 trophy, 1 final, 2 top 10, 2 top 4 finishes. When is enough enough? When is enough enough, ladies and gentlemen? 20 years without a title. 32 years without a Carabao Cup. No Champions League titles. No Europas. 0 Super Cups. 0 Club World Cups. When does it stop, y'all? When does it stop? People last weekend were saying, hey, we have more wins than the Invincibles. I even heard one student say the Invincibles were overrated. I'm going to ask the question again, y'all. When does it stop? Well, Matt, Mikel has us challenging for second place against the best city team known to man. Oh yeah? Well, I watched a hell of a good Manchester United team get punched in the face by one Arsene Wenger in Arsenal back in the day. Didn't stop him. I'll ask the question again. When is enough enough? $65 million on Kai Havertz. Comes in, played him out of position for the most part of the season. By the time he got it going, a little bit too late. Heard somebody in the fan base this past week say, we don't need a striker. We can put Kai Havertz there. He'll get us 25 goals next year. I'll ask the question again. When is enough enough? In January, I did fan cam after fan cam after fan cam. Was on panels. I asked, when are we going to sign this striker? Well, Matt, we're scoring goals for fun right now. Do you really think we need a striker? When we played Villa, couldn't find a goal. I asked the question again. When is enough enough? The manager comes out, says, hey, we're going to challenge for this Champions League. We have the home leg against Bayern Munich. Can't finish the job. When is enough enough? We have sat here, ladies and gentlemen, and we've been down this road before. Let's go back to last season. Southampton, 3-3. Right around this same time. Year before that, I think it was Newcastle. Had Curtis Shaw tearing off his shirt. I can't even remember. It was so bad, I can't remember what happened the year before that. It's been so long, and then 8th place. That's all you need to know. And you have to ask yourself, when is enough enough? Shout out to the brother Turkish. I have no ill will against Turkish. I saw today on the watch along. He said he was the one would the players see this and would it motivate them. I'm gonna drop some memories. I remember watching Manchester United get the Guard of Honor. You know what happened the next year? I think RVP went to him. When is enough enough? When is enough enough? Because we've been dealing with this longer than what it looks like. For some of us, we've been dealing with this since the late 2000s. And it's time, it's either we need to start getting real about winning, or we just need to say we're the modern day Spurs. Because we're doing the same exact thing that we joke about, we make fun about them. They hadn't won anything. Yeah, we got a little FA Cup a couple years ago. But what has he done since then? Especially in that same cup that we won. Didn't even try to defend the cup, did we? Nope. I'll ask it again, just for the hell of it. When is enough enough? It's time to have a really sit down and come to Jesus moment with Arsenal Football Club. Hey, Stan Kroenke, what are you going to do? I'm going to ask you the question, Stan, if you're listening. When is enough enough? Because surely you got to be getting tired of it. It's costing you money, my friend. Because you've invested over $700 million. In this summer, we're probably going to hit $1 billion in transfers. Arsene Wenger never got that money. The brother Unai Emery never got that kind of money. But I know who did. El Capitan, Mikel, let's fucking go. He got it. And I'm going to ask that question again. You know it's coming. When is enough enough? And we are sitting here 4.5 years later The Premier League trophy is going back over to Man City. They've got 115 charges, and we've got over 115 days of not winning the Premier League title. When is enough enough? I'm sure somebody will go actually look and find out how many days it's been since we've had the Premier League title, but I know it's well over that. We're talking, I don't even know. I can't even, put that in my head right now. But you all know what I mean. You know exactly what I mean. To hell with those charges over there. I'm not worried about those charges. We got our own charges right now. Failure to be successful and win a trophy this year in the Carabao Cup. Failure to win the FA Cup. Failure to win another Premier League. Unless a holy miracle happens this weekend. Which, like I said, throw it out your head. It probably ain't happening. 4 years of not doing anything. Embarrassed in the Europa League. We were almost embarrassed in the Champions League this year, but we got out of it out of PKs. Those are the charges we need to be worried about. The charge of not buying a striker in January, not doing what we needed to do last January, wasting all of the transfer budget on Kai Havertz this year, who, by the way, is on my shit list because he's out here twerking for Spurs. Bro, if you wanted Spurs to win, and this goes for anybody, I don't mind if y'all want Spurs to win. Just keep your mouth shut about it. Just keep your mouth shut about it. But like I stated earlier, we hadn't had any success. But I asked the question again, though, just so I can hammer it home. When is enough enough? That should be the question that's going to be asked going into this weekend. The question about Son missing a kick, all of that stuff, that doesn't need to be the question. The question needs to be, when is enough enough? Because surely, the most ardent Arsenal supporter right now, excuse me, let me rephrase that. The most ardent Arteta supporter has to be thinking to themselves as they lay down tonight, or as they're listening to this morning. They have to be thinking to themselves, when is enough enough? I said this a while back on a fan cam with Lee. It's probably early in the year. I want to say it's around November. Or it might have been last year. No, this was last year. Matter of fact, I think it was the Southampton game. If Mikel Arteta truly loved Arsenal and wanted what's best for Arsenal, for me, I think he should walk away this season. And I'm going to explain to you why. I think the manager took the job too early. This is something that most people aren't going to say. I think the manager took the job at the wrong time. He has not developed himself as a coach. And so now that he's been placed in these situations, everything is a trial by fire. Shout out to Gary, DWTT. Go subscribe to him if you hadn't. DWTT. One of the earliest shows I was on. It's a show called The Trip. And when we first got Arteta in, this is a long time ago, I told them, I said, we're going to have to deal with his ups and his downs. That was over three and a half years ago. I said that. And we have literally had to do that with this manager. Now, for me, had he been to another job, maybe started out somewhere smaller, hell, even took the Celtic job, or went to Rangers, maybe PSG. If he'd been over there, if he'd waited, went over there, he'd maybe coached them, got a little pressure, understood what it was like to get a little pressure somewhere. And then if this job was available, then you come over here and then you have a different perspective on how to handle certain situations. But because the manager did not get that training, that's because the manager did not understand how to man manage, how to deal with egos, how to deal with big time players. You saw tonight when you watched the Spurs game, the goalkeeper came off, kicking coolers, raising hell. If that was Mikel Arteta, he would banish him from the team and sell him, and we wouldn't know why. But because Pep knows how to deal with emotional players, or players are on a higher level than what he's accustomed to, Arteta that is, you see how everything was diffused. And so when you look at the old situations that people look back at, like Aubameyang and the dressing room and things of that magnitude, and players getting pushed out, they're getting doozies of the world, players that were quote unquote said, oh, they were problem children and all of this stuff. And then you look up later and you see these same players, they're elsewhere being successful. It lets you know automatically that the manager couldn't deal with the behavior. But that comes along with training. And when you don't have the experience training or dealing with players on a higher level, that's how you deal with it. You just get rid of it. So every player that was on the FA Cup team is pretty much gone now. And these are all his players. We re-signed Eddie Nketiah. We gave him $100,000. We gave him shirt number 14. I'm asking a question again, y'all. Y'all know what it is. Say it with me. When is enough enough? We re-signed Reece Nelson. Paul Reece, he got suckered into re-signing the contract because he probably was guaranteed some time. He thought he was going to be playing at Arsenal. He actually thought he had a shot at it. We re-signed him. We played him probably 4 or 5 times this year. Say it along with me, y'all. Y'all know what it is. What's the question? When is enough enough? Let's go over here to Zinchenko. Last year, cost us the title. This year, cost us the title. When is enough enough? $50 million last year on Jesus. This year, I think he's only got 4 goals. I don't have the numbers right in front of me. Injured. Last year, injured this year. Going into next season. Ask yourself, is he going to get 25 goals at Arsenal, 22 goals at Arsenal, 20 goals at Arsenal, 18 goals at Arsenal, 16 goals at Arsenal? Ask yourself this question. When is enough enough? Cedric Suarez virtually didn't do anything this year. We paid him to sit on the bench all year long, collecting checks. Shout out to Tony Clark Gunner if you listen to this. He's a pensioner. What does he get? Nothing. What has he done? Nothing. Got paid to do nothing. Ask yourself this question. When is enough enough? Fabio Vieira. Not even a whole 2 hours of football the entire season. Big time money paid for him. Still the same size when we bought him. Ask yourself that question. When is enough enough? Kivior. Much love, Kivior. I'll give you a little love, Kivior. I'm not going to come down too hard on you. Came into this team. Did fairly decent this year when called upon. But inexperience and frailty showed up there towards the end. Probably should be moved up, but moved on loan this year. Because Timber should be back 100%. I will move this gentleman on loan. If we opt to keep him in the team, you got to start asking Mikel Arteta, when is enough enough? You look at this team as it's constructed, and it's virtually the same team from last season with Declan Rice. And let me say this. I think I might have said this on my last podcast. But if Declan Rice is not in his team, we're having a completely different discussion tonight. And that also goes to further my point. He's $100 million man. He's a proper, I want to make sure I emphasize that, a proper $100 million man. And he's a classic example of when I say you need to go out and buy quality. There was no questions asked when we signed Declan Rice. Could he do the job? Or are we overpaying? Some people thought we were overpaying. I thought we were doing just fine because we knew what we were getting. You looked at it. You saw it. When people thought I was crazy in January and Lee was crazy, when we kept asking for Ivan Toney, Jez, all of us kept saying Ivan Toney, Ivan Toney, Ivan Toney. Just throw the money at Ivan Toney and get it done. And people thought I was crazy. Well, what has he done this year? He's not going to do much this year because he know he's leaving. He's not going to put his career on the line and get injured. And he know he's on his way to a move this summer. But I do know one thing. Had he came to Arsenal, we might have got something out of that Aston Villa game, even if it was a draw. When it comes to our January policy, when it comes to our transfer policies, you got to start asking yourself a question. Same question we've been asking all night on this. When is enough enough? Not only do Arteta needs to question himself and decide on what he wants to do, Edu needs to walk away from this job. Edu needs to walk away from this job. For those who don't know, and I don't have the audio right here, right in front of me right now, but I'll give you a synopsis of it. The first conversation he had with Mikel Arteta for the first 2 hours of their phone conversation was not even about football. That in itself lets you know he's not qualified for the position. When is enough enough? We look at the academy. You're seeing other teams with players, popping up, different places. You see good players coming from all over the place. There was word about 3 weeks ago that we had a young man that was down in our academy. He was scoring 6-7 goals a year. He's been doing it 2 or 3, 4 times this season. Hadn't heard of peep, hadn't seen him, hadn't even put him on the bench, didn't even try to run him out. A couple of weeks ago, we were blowing out teams. We were decimating teams. Never even saw these players. Never heard of any of them. Ask yourself the question, y'all. When is enough enough? Because this is a routine that we're going into, a routine of failure. And being from Georgia, although I'm not an Atlanta Falcons fan, any Atlanta Falcons fan that hears this knows what I mean by when I say this. They have a culture of losing, but always trying to put a positive spin on it. Kind of sound like Spurs. Now that I mention it. But in order to fix that culture of losing and missing out and not getting to the next level, the first thing you have to do is just like an alcoholic. They have to admit that there's a problem. And that is one of the hardest things for Arsenal fans to do, is to admit we have a problem. One of our major problems is we wait until it's absolutely too late. And I'm mighty afraid we're getting close to that point. Shout out to the brother Deji Spurs. I heard him say something tonight. And he was right on the money, because this is something that I've been trying to tell people for the last several weeks. People keep going on about next season. We're going to come back next season. We're going to win it next season. We're going to do this next season. If no Premier League team has ever won the title 4 straight times, which is it's on the doorstep of happening. Arsenal, if I'm not mistaken, has never defended the title. We've won it, but we've never been able to defend it back to back, if I'm not mistaken. In fact, I might be wrong, but I think I'm right on that. But my ultimate point is this. When has there ever been a second place or first place person to win outside of Man City 3 times in a row. Because this year, I think they were the first to win it 3 times. So how the hell does that mean that Arsenal's going to come back and all of a sudden on the 3rd time, we're going to just overtake them and just overdo everything? And newsflash for you, ladies and gentlemen, it might not even be Man City next year. It might be somebody else. But I can tell you this, with the way this team is constructed right now, it's probably not going to be us. And once again, you got to ask yourself that question. When is enough enough? How long are we going to give this manager? How long are we going to give the Cronkies? How much time do they need? How much money are all of y'all that's going to the Emirates, that's putting your hard-earned money in a time of inflation when a loaf of bread costs 15 American dollars? You convert it over across the pond. Gas is at an all-time high. People getting laid off work. People robbing Peter to pay Paul. Taxes going up. These bills to watch the game are going through the roof. Subscription services. Have you seen the price of kits that some of y'all are buying? Have y'all seen some of the price of those kits that y'all buying? For all my American gooners over here, let's talk about these American tours. Look at the tickets for those games. $300, $200, $400. Look at the ticket prices. And people are packing out the stadiums. And at the end of the season, what are you doing? You're taking that kit off. They've already put out the new kit. They want you to buy it. You look over. And you say, you know what? That's a nice kit, man. I think I'm going to purchase it. So you spend the top dollar. You restart the cycle. The year passes by. We come up short again. New kit comes out. You buy the kit. We don't do anything. You buy it again. We recircle. We do the same thing over and over again. But you know what you don't do? You don't stop. Sit down in the chair. Get you a nice cold water, beer, whatever wine. And you don't ask yourself the question, when is enough enough? And when you finally decide to ask yourself the question, when is enough enough, then you will be able to look at where we are and ask yourself, why are we not getting over the line? Why are we showing a lack of ambition? Where are the world-class players? Because for years we were told, we got to get in the Champions League. We got to get in the Champions League. We got to get fourth. We got to get in. We got to qualify. Because then we can go out and get the world-class players. Well, this is year 2. This is year 2. And newsflash, Manchester United is not going to be the same Manchester United. Don't fool yourself. They're not going to be, as it stands, I'm not sure where they are in the European picture, but I can tell you if they don't go to Europe, it's actually going to work out in their favor because they have something. Then they'll actually have something to focus on. You look over at Chelsea. Everybody had a laugh at Chelsea. Look where Chelsea's at in the table now. Also, this weekend, people are already talking about Everton. Newsflash, Everton has lost 1 game in 8. You want to know what this record? Anybody want to take a guess at what the manager's record is against Sean Dyche? 2-3. You want to know what Arsenal's record is in the last 10 games against Everton? 4-5-1. Game's not going to be easy this weekend, man. You want to know what the score was when we played Everton earlier this year? I think it was 1-0. So if you think that you're just gonna just pull up this weekend and it's gonna be a party and celebration, you might have a rude awakening coming. On top of City crowning themselves another Premier League title. Maybe when the 3 whistles hit at the end of this game this weekend, there'll be some fans that are going to be sitting there and they'll ask themselves, when is enough enough? This week, there was a lot of emotion, as I stated earlier. There was a lot of lashing out. There was a lot of twerking. There was a hell of a lot of twerking. I've even seen fans today do something I thought I'd never see. Put on a Spurs shirt and kiss the badge. That alone should make you ask the question, when is enough enough? That's how you should know that the fact of the matter today, we had to sit there today and there were fans supporting our bitter rivals. The underlying support was because we wanted success. But we must learn that instead of supporting the rival like that, we need to go ask the manager and the team to go out and perform in every game with the same level of hope that we had, or that they had rather, that Spurs had on that they had for Spurs on tonight. That's the same type of hope that we should have when we go play Aston Villa, when we played Newcastle and got 0 shots on target. That is the same type of passion that should be displayed when it's time to go into the transfer market, to demand that we get the best available player, not just the player, not just re-signing old players that we need to be letting go of. Jorginho, I'm looking at you. El Nene, I'm looking at you. Nketiah, I'm coming right back around to you, Brother King of Zamunda. Those are not the type of signings we need. We need top class signings, but we also need to have, as I was stating, the same type of passion that everybody had for supporting Spurs tonight. You need to have that same kind of passion for demanding success at this football club. And when that in itself happens, that will let me know that members of this fan base have asked themselves the question, when is enough enough? For those interested, tomorrow we'll be having I will be on with Jez tomorrow at 5 p.m. UK time, which is noon US time, and also later that evening I have a round. We'll have a fireside chat with the brother Bance. I've extended the offer to Jez. I'll drop the link into the chat, so maybe Northside, Lee, if he's available, a host of others will be available to come on, and we'll talk about this season, and we'll be talking about this coming up this weekend, and just this week's events. I, for one, I'm tired of going through this, y'all. I'm mentally tired of it now, and I just really want people to start asking themselves the question, when is enough? And hey, like I said, you keep doing the same thing over and over. It becomes cognitive dissonance, and a lot of our fan base, they suffer from cognitive dissonance, and it's a bad case of it as well. And it's time to face the facts, y'all. We're going backwards. It's time to stop respecting the city. It's time to get away from being the nice guy in football. It's time to start getting more ruthless. Oftentimes I check, and I'm coming to a close, but oftentimes when I do check the Arsenal social media, I go over our look. It's always lollygag, happy, feel good. There needs to be less of that next season. And it needs to be more fierceness. We need an attitude change. We need an attitude adjustment. We need to stop respecting a lot of these teams. And we need to start acting like we deserve to be in the room. And we need to start not only acting like we deserve to be in the room, we need to start playing like it. Because imitation is the best form of flattery. We need to change our thinking. We need to change our moving in the transfer market. We need to develop our academy. We need to start redeveloping our academy, bringing through good players. We need to have a look at this manager. He's probably going to be here next year. But the question, he's going to be here. More than likely, he's going to be here, which I've already accepted that. I've already accepted it. Like I said, if he was smart, he would walk away. But I know for a fact his ego's not going to let him do it. He's going to be here. But I'm going to ask you the question. We're 10, 15 games in next year, and we're back to where we were again. When is enough enough? When is enough enough? And for the last time, I'll ask it one more time. When is enough enough? I'm tired of going through this, y'all. I have a deep love for this football club. When I say deep love, I mean deep love. And I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm tired of being the laughing stock of the Premier League. As far as that goes, we're right there with Spurs. That's the laughing stock of the Premier League. And like I stated, I'll say it again. No Arsenal fan can talk about Spurs tonight. We can't say anything about them this season. Because as it stands right now, we're in the same boat they're in. Not one trophy this season. And with that, I'm Matt, the Southern Gooner. Hope you enjoyed this. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. If you're catching this tomorrow or the next day, in the morning, later on today, I'll be on with Jez over on Arsenal History and More with Kenny and Lee and Jake, the Palace fan. And so we'll be talking about last night's events with City and Spurs. And once again, ask yourself the question, when is enough enough? I'm Matt, the Southern Gooner. I'm out. Peace.